Public meeting, meetings are recorded. Minutes are recorded. Meeting is broadcast on Zoom and recorded for YouTube replay. Renee, can we make sure we're YouTube replaying? Okay, great. Microphones on, please. Public commenters, please step up to a microphone. Let's see here. We have Liz. We don't have Steve. We have Ron. We don't have Bob. We don't have Nancy. I didn't hear from Richard. We'll leave him blank for now. Richard's coming. Chriso and Steve. So I do know that Nancy, Bob, Steve Gold, and Steve Pixley won't be here. So,
but I made it. Just
Richard Stetson is here. Great, thank you. All right, we're going to confirm voting members. So I guess that's the three of us that are here, the regular members. And that, I believe, is technically a quorum. So I'm not sure we'll have anything to vote on today, but. Okay. So Bob Perkins did the minutes for January. So for February, let's see. We haven't been assigning them to somebody who's absent, have we? Does anybody recall that? Well, Richard, we'll skip to you today, if that's
thanks.
okay.
I had that thought.
It shouldn't be too extensive, but okay. So Richard, you're going to do the February minutes, please. Is that okay with you?
You had that feeling as you walked in the door
Yeah.
that tag you're it.
Next meeting, March 10th, 2026. Renee, do you have the calendar? Does that look okay? We just make sure there's nothing in this room.
I don't see anything
Okay,
at the moment.
great. So
I can't guarantee that that's.
Okay, well, we can ask Janice too when she's back. March 10th at 8 a.m. And one, I meant to say when we're announcing the meeting, we kind of discussed, we're going to try to keep the meetings 8 to 9:30, an hour and a half. So I don't think that should be a problem today, but going forward, we'll try to keep them 8 to 9:30. All right, so we'll see if Elliot comes through the door. I hadn't heard from him, so. All right, so public comments on non-agenda items? None from you, Peter, on non-agenda, okay. So we don't have meeting minutes to approve from Bob. I will follow up with him. I don't have Steve Pixley here for a harbor master report, but I did ask him if he had any updates. And he did, very brief. He said the fisherman hoist was broken and it was a bad key punch pad. We replaced it and it ran great for 3 weeks. Then the control box stopped working. It was a bad ground, but it is all up and running now. And that's all I have from Steve. All right, and I have a Curtis Island. Any questions for Steve with that I can bring back to him? Curtis Island Foundation update from Michael Scaly.
Okay, so I wanted to show you kind of where we are in our planning, and I've come here several times along the way and tried to say this is where we're going, and then something would come up and we'd have some better clarity. And so what I wanted to do is show you the plans that we have from Jeff Senders. Jeff volunteered to do the design, and this is after kind of a lot of input from early on. Ron had some ideas. Bill Glover of Rockport Steel had ideas. Jeff Senders volunteered, I guess it was back in June, to say, hey, he'll do the layout of plan. So what I wanted to do today was just show you what we have. And I guess my want here is there, do you see any showstoppers? And I'll just go through the plan, which I'll project up. And it's, what I'm finding, it's complicated just to kind of get it to a position where it's ready for permitting. So I wanted to take advantage of this meeting that we have here to say, to get any input. This isn't the formal input, but do you see anything that's going to, that should be different? And then I believe permits come back here. I'm unclear on that. I think they do eventually, or can any of you help here? So when you have a permit, do you approve the permit, or do you just say approve the concept, or you're supportive of the concept?
You can kind of just look at it and
Yeah, I'm not sure how permits fit in with the harbor committee. I mean, clearly Curtis Island is part of the harbor, but
they might ask us to review it and
Yeah.
see if anything looks bonkers, as you kind of said.
Mhm.
Chriso, do you?
Is this
Yeah.
a, I'm
I
sorry.
mean, what, I'm not sure what you're getting permits for. that
Well,
would
it would be permits to put two possible things on the island. One would be a new set of stairs where the kayaker beach is, and I'll get up and kind of show you the plan, but two sets where the kayaker beach, so that would be a new set of stairs designed and, installed. And the other is the ramp, and that's what we had talked a lot about. Do we put the old dock in the way it used to be when the Coast Guard was here? We have pictures. I mean, it looks pretty cool. And I'll talk to that in a moment. But we've come up with an alternative to that is sort of minimal impact.
Michael, would the stairs be a permanent fixture and the ramp is during the construction?
Yeah, the ramp would be, we're calling it a natural ramp because there's really no superstructure. You're taking the ledge where the conovers used to land, and then there was stairs, and those stairs got wiped out in the December or January 2023 storms. So that has been inaccessible. So what we would do is to make a natural ramp. We've got that ledge that goes up, and by excavating just a little bit on where the current ledge meets the ground, just smoothing that out, putting some crushed stone in, it becomes a natural ramp with no superstructure. And the good thing about that is when all the construction is done, you just put some topsoil back on it, replant it, and it revegetates close to where it is, short of probably a little dip. So that's the plan.
Yeah, I mean, Harbor Committee really only has purview over peer review projects, but that sounds like you're potentially getting with some DEP permitting.
Yeah, the
Because,
permitting would go through the state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at what happened over at the condos by Steamboat Landing last fall, was a bit of a brouhaha over fill.
Yeah, so.
Remember, we reviewed that pier one. That's why I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so if it's an actual piers by town ordinance
Okay.
come through, they go, Harbor Committee reviews them there, and then it goes to planning board, but any other structure is through code and state, and that is going to be,
Yeah, and that's where-
that's going to be state permitting.
That's where that would go. So let me pull it up and,
And Michael, can you send this to me so I can forward it to everybody who's not here?
yes.
I'm all set, thank you.
Liz,
We're gonna call those. Sometimes it'll wiggle out. Showing up here.
I did notice it up a few minutes ago. So,
Is it just supposed to go right into here? Let's make sure this is
Oh.
connected to something.
Yeah.
Wait, that wasn't quite in all the way.
no, so it goes from here, and a few minutes ago, it was up on the screen.
Yeah, it should be working.
Is there any,
So you're gonna step-
What's it say on the lower part of the screen? Press the button.
No display, press the question mark button.
For help.
hey,
It's this
Yeah, this is kind of,
this connection has been a little wonky.
yeah.
do you know where this? Question mark button, is that it there?
Is it doing something now?
Something's happening.
Yeah, this projector's the projector's a little finicky and the connection sometimes is,
Mhm.
it was working just a few minutes ago. Cord. Let me see what's wrong with that.
Okay.
Mr. Scanlon, in the interest of time, do you mind if I just chime in? I got a couple of things, because you did make a presentation last meeting. This is not to interrupt, but I mean, if we're waiting, I'd be glad to wait, but I think we could
Please do.
use some time wisely. My name's Peter Lindquist. I live in Camden. And what Mr. Scaling was going to basically help tell us about was he basically presented last meeting on January, what was it?
13.
The 13th. I'm sure that there's some added details that Mr. Scaling is going to share with us. But one thing is glaringly missing from this Curtis Island Foundation presentation is educating the visitors that are going to be encouraged to go out to the island. There's been talk about access. There's now, what we'll see in these plans is now access, more access, easier access, better access, safer access. But what we're missing from the presentation is the fact that it was mentioned at the last meeting that the Parks and Rec Department, Jeff Nathan, is involved. And it's a good opportunity for the town to start to tell visitors, you know what? If you're going to set foot on the island, these are some rules, and this is how these rules are shared. And one of those ways we've learned over at the Snow Bowl, the town has learned, is you charge people $5 to hike up the mountain and people to go ski down. And that never used to be the case, but in educational efforts, the town and the insurance industry taught users, well, if you're going to be on the mountain, we're going to ask you to be part of our insurance coverage because we are anyway. You're on a town park. Same thing is at Curtis Island. The days of going out to Curtis Island because it's just really cool and fun are kind of at an opportunity for us to make it safer and more data-driven. Wouldn't it be interesting, Mike, to gather at the end of this summer coming up, 2026, the 500 or 600 names and addresses of people that visit on a database
Yeah.
that's shared? And then so you could, instead of talking about visitors, we would know who's visiting, how long they stay, did they volunteer to do anything? Did they buy a membership for an extra $25? How do we get that money? Where's the town involvement in all this? I don't see any of this in the foundation's plan. And I have gone to the website
Mhm.
many times and it's not there.
Mhm.
So I'm asking,
Oh,
oh,
got it.
look at that. Here we are. It's ready for me to stop.
This is the connector. It's okay. Keep going, Peter.
No. I think I've made a presentation. Tell me if I'm missing anything.
No, I think you're absolutely right.
Good.
And I think that,
That's all I wanted to hear.
well, you want to hear the, the rest of the
I
stuff?
think I've heard, no, I agree with your points. I would say, is it glaringly missing? Because I have heard a little bit about at least the education piece,
Mhm.
maybe not the payment, but I've heard a little bit about educating some visitors.
So what we're trying to do is the town owns the island. The town
Okay,
owns,
just let me stop and you can do your presentation, but you're absolutely right.
Well,
That's, the town does
Michael,
own.
I think you could respond to
Yeah.
Peter, and then we'll
so
do the full
what I'm trying to
presentation.
say is, I think everything you said is probably right on target, given, how much is charged or is it charged, having that discussion. The foundation, we're here to try to facilitate getting the deteriorating island conditions, the buildings, to develop funds for that. It's a partnership with the town, and the town, I feel, really needs to weigh in whatever way the town can and wants to, because the town ultimately owns it. It's ultimately a park of Parks and Recreation. So I don't disagree with what you're saying.
Good.
I'm saying that has not been our role up until now. And we can push on it, but we feel, or I'll speak just for myself here, that it's necessary to know who's going on the island and
Good.
what they're doing
Mhm.
and how many people. And those are critical pieces that need to be addressed.
Mhm.
And what I'm saying, it's not the foundation, it's a combination of the town and the foundation that needs to be involved in that, not the foundation saying, let's do it this way, let's do it that way. We're trying to provide energy to get the funds and the resources to fix, improve, and help this place survive in a way that we all want it.
Oh, did it go to sleep?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you lost your chance, Michael. Okay.
Okay.
Well, if I stand here like this, you can do your presentation.
So what I, as I said before, what I want to do is just show you, this is where we're at. Are there any big showstoppers? And Peter, what you mentioned, personally, I don't see them as showstoppers to moving ahead here, but they're definitely things that need to be addressed. And I'm right behind you in terms of addressing them. Because that does give us a lot of information. I mean, we look at some of the old sign-in books, and this summer, let's get something on the island. So whatever is happening there, we know who's coming on and off. But that is a bigger discussion, and it's not what my focus is here today. So my focus is, we've got very limited access to the island right now. And if you look in the bottom left, well, let me see. So that's outer Camden Harbor, and,
Do you want to zoom that in? Is that what you're
Yeah.
trying to do?
okay,
Maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was an IT person.
yeah,
There we go.
okay. Can we,
Is that what you were looking for?
yeah, and I'm trying to just move it up a little bit.
Well, I'm not that good.
Oh, okay, that's,
That's good.
yeah. So the black line you see is where the stairs will go, and the other, and you'll see it on the next slide, where the other ramp will go, the natural ramp.
So that's the stairs?
Yeah.
Is that where the existing stairs are?
That's where the existing stairs are. So this is existing, and then we're going to go to what the next ones are. Okay, I'm sorry here. Oh, here we go.
We can zoom out
Okay.
again and it'll give you everything.
Oops. I didn't want to go there.
Hang on one second. Let's. All right.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Go down a little bit. There you go.
Okay, so you can see the two ramps, so that's where they are existing. The upper one is where the Conovers used to land, and there's a set of stairs, and if you're out there right now, you'll see there's probably 8 feet of the stairs left, and that's it. So for on the top upper part, the lower, that's the kayaker stairs. So you can see the top, let's see, the upper, well, in the middle piece, that's the kayaker stairs. And basically they run right where the kayaker stairs are now. They're a bit wider. They are constructed of aluminum. They would be constructed by, if this all moves along, Rockport steel. And they're embedded, you can see a couple of places, the upper box right there, that's a dug hole with concrete put in it to attach to the stairs. And midway down, there's another one, and then all the way down, there's a post that goes in. So that they get anchored. And again, Jeff Senders engineered these. This piece is where the natural bridge is. And so if you look at the red line, I believe that's the natural line right now. So it would be slightly excavated with, he calls it 3-inch, I think it's blasted stone. So it's stone that has a tooth to it, an edge to it, so they don't roll out or spin out like round stones would. And so this is all Jeff Senders' design, given his survey of the elements. And he spent quite a bit of time out there and donated this to us. So I'll get into a little more detail. So there you see, this is the kayaker stairs, little larger. Let's see. I want to zoom into zoom.
What do you want to see? The stairs or the?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So on the stairs, like I said, there are a couple of concrete bases halfway up and at the top, and they're following the same path that the stairs are now. There's a railing on one side, and they're 3 feet wide. And at the base, there's he would suggest laying in some large either granite blocks or something that will anchor in, but eventually it would be the sort of the first couple of steps. And again, that's all laid out in the design. So there's another view of it. And just as those stairs do today, they go up. You get to the top, there's a platform and a little bit of a ramp coming off. And this ramp would be of wood here.
Want that bigger?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is what the natural ramp would be. So where those stairs are now, that would be excavated out and up slightly with this crushed stone being put in, and it following this kind of a natural, very natural ramp down. And one of the feedback that we had heard in this process was, Ron, I know we had talked about, let's put the old dock in there. And I pushed on that, and we went in that direction for a little while. And Jeff said the engineering for it, the cost of it, and the permanence of it were very expensive. And getting it permitted, he said, would be more difficult. So came up with this, hey, let's just do it naturally. It's something we can cover over, and it will be back to natural after we're finished with this construction. And that's our, what we were shooting for here. And
That zoomed out. See your full.
so that's the piece. You can see the humped pieces. That's following the elevation of that ledge. And then you can see where it would be excavated, it'd be 6 feet wide at the base. And again, the crushed stone put in, it would end up coming up just pretty much where the hill starts falling down up in the field. So the angle of that is different and is calmer than an above the ground ramp. And that's where we went first. And we had an above the ground ramp that could either end in a dock or it could end in or onto the rocks. But at any rate, it was.
And is this a high tide access? Or is,
No, it isn't. And so the town did not want to go for a a full tide access. So this is a high tide access. So if you were bringing things over.
do you have to plan for the
Yeah,
tide is what,
yeah.
okay.
So
Because that's what Ron
the
had
delivery on
talked
this
about,
would
yeah.
be via a small barge that Rockport Steel will loan it to us. I think it's a 10 by 26 aluminum barge that probably could transport most of the stuff. And so at high tide, or plus or minus an hour and a half or so, you pull up, you then take from the barge right onto that ledge and then right up right there. So that's where the heavier materials would go.
Yes, Peter?
So, Michael, I guess to interrupt a tiny bit, but where is the foundation in their application for all of these permits? Is Senders,
The town-
this won't happen unless permits get applied for.
Oh, of course.
Okay, good.
So Jeff is ready to apply for permits. What we need is the town's backing for it, and that's kind of where we are. What we're trying to do is, how do we get this going so that work can be done out on the island? So the town will have to apply. It will be a town application. We won't be applying. We're just donating the engineering and the cost of getting this whole thing done. So we would be raising the money, or we have the money to do this. We received a $25,000 grant from Maine Lighthouse Trust, and we have other money that we're prepared to cover the cost of all of this.
If, just to continue the question, and maybe Chriso, you could help me. This has to take place through the select board. Right. So who's the point person? Again, here we are in we'll be at the end of February soon. And to apply for, to apply for permits, you got to apply, you got to get the select board to get those wheels turning.
Right.
So how's that plan going?
That plan goes through the select board and Audra. And they're the ones that are going to have
So,
to bring it forward.
so Peter, you're saying we need, you'd encourage Michael to get it on the agenda. That's.
But
sound-
the foundation has been to the select board over the last few months, or at least, no, okay. You haven't. Well,
We've been trying to go to the select board over the last few months.
yeah, go ahead. You know.
Yes, Ron.
Just to address this, Peter, we may have started too late. Is that what you're suggesting? Because I mean, we have a time element that we have to be considerate of. And weather is a factor. We've had all that conversation.
Yeah.
And so whatever the process is that we need to go through for approval and permits is what it is.
It is what it is.
And
Yep,
and
okay.
we have, the basic time consideration is that we arrest the deterioration of the buildings themselves. That's the primary
Well,
drive here. We're not, at this point, looking to necessarily create or improve pedestrian access.
Yeah, and I'm not asking you for that this morning. I'm just
No.
saying, what?
Well, we
are
have to have, we have to keep, stay focused on, because of the time elements involved, primarily access for the purpose of transportation of workmen and materials is I would think, the primary concern. We're not going at this as if we're going to create pedestrian access and charge the pedestrians to try to raise the money to fix the lighthouse. I think the money to fix the lighthouse is going to come from contributions, and I don't think we can wait to accumulate enough money through visitation to try to support the restoration of the lighthouse. We need that money up front to restore the lighthouse. That's our primary objective, or at least not fully restore it, but at least arrest the deterioration. That's, I think, has been the goal all along. And that's what we need to stay focused on.
well, with all due respect, Ron, both of these pieces of project on the map say access. So access is access. Now, you need access to get equipment out there, but access is access. It's still a public park and it's still open. So I'm not saying you're going to raise $300,000 with a kayak ticket. I never said that. But you've got access and you're still got to get these permits for access, to build this access.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
we understand that, Peter.
Yeah, okay.
That's a given. We know that we need permits for
So-
these accesses. But the access conversation has been going on for at least a year now. And to try to prioritize what kind of access are we talking about? We have two types of access. We have access for materials and construction equipment, and we have access for pedestrians.
And I imagine the pedestrian access might even become a little limited during construction. And that would probably be a select board, what they're going to, are they going to block off a whole area? Is it going to be considered a closed town park? I would imagine there'll be some places that would be safe for visitors. But, and that could be an opportunity for some education if there is some safe places, bringing some groups out to show them the restoration, who knows? But I agree, Peter, that is this going to kill two birds with one stone? It's going to get access for the workers and it's going to stay there. So hopefully we can then bring, once it's complete, bring some people, pedestrians out there
Yeah, I
in
think-
whatever form that becomes.
Well, I think to illustrate the point, we're not focused on providing a set of stairs for the workers to be able to access the island. That's not what those stairs are for. The stairs are for pedestrian
Well, actually,
visitation.
it's for two things. One is public access, no matter how it's interrupted or changed during the restoration process, or if it even needs to change, and we adapt what's on the island in terms of.
Well, they needed to be repaired for safety anyway.
But
Well, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that if we were to, if recognizing Peter's concern, the time element that we're up against in terms of getting approval for permits to start these accesses, this construction of these accesses, we don't need the stairs yet. We don't, it's not required. The restoration or the repair on the lighthouse building, it's the structure itself doesn't require a set of stairs.
You need them for the workers?
No, if we can access the,
Natural ramp?
I mean, well, first of all, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? We're gonna need a piece of equipment out there to dig up through that bank. We're gonna need equipment out there to get the crushed stone. All of that's gonna happen by way of a barge with a ramp on the end of it.
yeah,
And we're going to land on the stone, on the ledge that's there, which is incorporated in that construction. Let's refer to it as the construction access.
Mhm.
If we focus on doing that first, rather than getting sidetracked and getting slowed down by trying to get a permit for a set of stairs, and the stairs involve, talked about pouring concrete, and I just think we have to be, from a practical perspective, the introduction of pouring concrete out there that's major. And trying to, and if we have, I mean, that concrete is going to have to go up over the construction access. All of the aggregate, it's going to have to be mixed on site. That concrete's got to get mixed on site. We're not going to be moving a concrete truck out there.
But let me try to explain here. So those bases, it's basically those holes get dug out by hand. It's a labor-intensive piece, and we know it will be. The concrete itself can be batch mixed and laid up. And these holes are probably 2 feet wide, 2 feet square, I'm not sure the exact, but, and they're poured in with whatever rebar is needed. And that's all stuff that isn't going to be requiring heavy-duty equipment up on the island. So again, this is sort of our thinking, is you put the stairs in first, and that takes care of a lot, and there's a lot we can do with just the stairs to get equipment and tools and stuff. Yeah, it's going to be more labor intensive. But when you get to a point in the project where you need really heavy equipment, like if you restore the barn, or when the barn is restored, it probably needs to be jacked up and pushed off and a new foundation created. Or the current foundation's squared up. That could require heavier equipment. So our thinking right now is let's do the stairs as soon as we can, get the permit going. And since this is in one plan, get the permits for both, and then work on the other one as the need gets either clearer, or if we find some way we can use those stairs with an adjacent temporary lift or winch, maybe we can do it without that natural ramp. So there's a lot of there's a lot of thinking that still needs to happen here. And what I'm trying to do is get the thinking moving so that this can happen. And yes, I am concerned about this next building season and the time it will take to permit it. And all I can do is keep trying to educate and encourage people to look at it and have whatever serious discussions they need to have on it.
Okay, it's a question of perspective and prioritizing where the money goes, the time element involved in trying to make use of this building season.
Yeah.
I think the postponement that we're going to incur with regard to the permitting is going to put us beyond our target for this season. I can't see that permitting and the construction and the installation of those stairs, to me, from my perspective, from a practical perspective, is that we're sidetracked from accomplishing what it is we're trying to do on the buildings themselves, which is to arrest the deterioration. I think that the money involved, and I personally I'm not in favor of imposing an aluminum structure on the shoreline. I would rather see it be a wooden structure.
Yeah, I have
which
a
could be-
question.
could I
Sorry, go
finish-
ahead, Ron.
could I
Yeah,
finish
yeah,
speaking?
Sorry, go ahead, Ron.
And to stay in keeping with the environment and the aesthetic of what, if people are coming out there to see what it would have been like to live on a lighthouse in 1920, 1910, an aluminum structure is not part of that scenario. It's totally out of context in terms of aesthetic. So, and the wooden structures can be anchored with, you just drill into the stone, and there's evidence of that out there as already, where the wooden structure was anchored to the ledge by steel driven into the ledge, and either just driven to refusal, or lead was poured around it to secure it. But at any rate, that's the process that would have been used, which would be in keeping with the spirit, if you will, of the experience and that educational aspect of what would have been like and that starts when you step on the island. It doesn't start when you arrive at the lighthouse. That whole experience of what would have been like starts when you set foot on the island, I think. So anyway, I would just, for my 2 cents worth, I would, rather than get sidetracked with trying to permit the stairs, which I'd like to have more conversation about that if we could, so that we don't impose an aluminum structure out there. I think that's the wrong direction.
I as Ron was talking, it could be something to explore. Is there a non-permittable option for repairing those stairs that's not going to set you back, that can get workers to start whatever without having to because there's already stairs there. Just a thought is, speaking with Ron's wooden stairs, there's stairs there. Obviously they need repair, but do they need to be the aluminum stairs? Obviously that is longer term, better investment, but also, as Ron's saying, maybe there's an option that can get those stairs rebuilt a little quicker and start some of the other, I don't know, just something for you to think about maybe.
That's something we can look at.
I don't know, putting a whole nother structure versus repairing one, if that's that's not really my expertise, knowing that.
Well,
but-
I think the approach of excavating part of the bank in order to ease that transition from the ledge up onto a flatter part of the island, that grassy area is a good approach. And if permitting, for instance, if it were considered to be a temporary situation for the purposes of the maintenance and construction of the houses, the buildings themselves, But I would be, you talk about, every time you mention pouring concrete, it's just, wait a minute, that's not what it would have been. There would be there is a stone foundation under that barn, there's a stone foundation under the lighthouse, the stone foundation under the house itself. I don't see any reason why we need to abandon that original type of construction. I don't see that concrete is anymore. It seems like the magic solution standing here on the mainland, but concrete and the transportation of those materials and the mixing and all of that needs to take place on the island it introduces a degree of complexity that you simply don't have if you just lay it up with stone. I mean, transporting the stones, sure, that's a challenge, but it's been done. It's been done before. We know how they did it. So it's not and it's just one piece at a time, and they lay up one piece at a time. It's actually, I mean, there's a reason why we have so many
Let's finish.
cut stone buildings. It's a pretty efficient way to put a building up.
All right, Michael, why don't you
Well,
finish your
yeah.
presentation? We'll move on. Okay.
Well, that's
you
about
can-
all I had. I wanted to hear what the concerns are. I've heard them, and again, trying to creating a place where things can get done this summer is a driving force for me. And I don't really want those buildings to sit the way they are deteriorating for another summer. So it's sort of how do we move forward, and if it's a combination of some of these ideas here, but I'm ready to have other discussions about what we're doing, and really, again, our driving force is how do we restore, those beautiful buildings and the island without ripping it up, and
Yeah.
trying to do it the best we can.
There's only I'd make one other little point. It's being referred to as the kayaker access. I'm in hopes that people will be allowed to use some other means of transportation other than kayaks. I mean, I understand how it got labeled that way, but I think a more appropriate term would be visitor access.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank you.
kayaks that's just one way of getting yourself out there.
Okay, well, thank you very much for all of your input. I appreciate it. That was my goal today. I'm not trying to.
I think you
I
got
wanna
some
get
good
this going.
I think you got some good feedback to
Yeah.
bring to the foundation. I
Yeah.
think those are all.
Thank you all.
Great, thank you, Michael. 2026 harbor fees update was more, I just had a question for Chris O. I watched that portion of the meeting, and it looks like it was tabled. And I just didn't know if there was anything further. It sounds like we looked at the fees, we gave our opinion. I think maybe they were under the impression that Steve had like a lot different ideas. I know he had some that were, in the meeting, they said that Steve had a different, I think we kind of incorporated his a little bit into there. But anyway, just wondering
Yeah, I think
if
it
we're
was-
off the hook or we need to continue.
No, I think it was a, for whatever reason, Steve had been in the meeting.
Right,
until
so
about,
he
like,
was
10
going to be
minutes
there.
before-
I
until about,
wasn't,
like,
I
10
knew I wasn't going to be there. Elliot couldn't be. Yeah, it was
But
just.
it was like 10 minutes before we got to that item.
Yeah.
We're like, so we have a budget workshop tonight and there were a couple other fee questions.
Market rates and stuff like that.
Some of that, there were a couple of non-harbor fee questions
Okay.
so we have a joint workshop with the budget committee tonight. That's a sort of first step of the budget process for the year. And we're gonna get those answers from Steve on,
Steve, I know he'll be able to be there
Yeah.
for that.
yeah.
That'll be good.
And that, yeah, I think it was also it was in a stage of a very long
It was-
meeting
yeah.
that
I think it was okay that it was tabled. I just
Yeah.
didn't know if there was anything
Yeah, there was nothing
further we
major. It was
needed
just
to
kind
do.
of, Steve wasn't there, no one else. It was like, we can talk about this next.
Okay. Great. Does anybody have any questions on that? Feedback? No, I don't need to talk about the fees anymore. And then Elliot had brought up, he's not here, but he had brought up, that we have the new Town of Camden website, and there's a harbor portal where you can go in and do your registration and whatnot. When I came in, I talked to Jimmy. She said, just an update from her, that if you're going in to register a boat, they can't do that yet. The Inland Fisheries Department has not given them the registration stickers. So just for anybody listening, she'll be getting those hopefully soon. Although I don't imagine there'll be too much push yet in February, but so I was able to go, I did a little test for Jimmy. On a wait list, I was able to go on and put in the payment. I did notice there's an extra credit card fee when you do it online. So, but she did say anybody can just walk in and pay those by check like normal. So you don't have to use that. But I didn't know if anybody else had a chance to review it and if there was any feedback. The first time I went on, it was fairly easy because I had an outstanding waitlist bill, so I could click it and pay it. The second time I tried to log on, I have a business email and then a personal, and I didn't know which one I had used. It was a little clunky, but I think also it was because I didn't have something outstanding to pay. So does anybody have any feedback on the harbor portal?
Is this just for the sake of paying?
Yeah, you can get on and look if you can get onto a wait list and see what you are on the wait list. And then you can register a dinghy, you can put in the information. Yes, so it's basically somebody who doesn't want to walk into the town office to pay for something harbor related. So it's
Or have to go in and ask for the wait list to see it,
you can see the wait list right on the portal.
which is major breakthrough in the history of the harbor.
Yeah, I mean, if after I can pull it up and show you, it's pretty, I mean, that I was able to pretty easily find. So, yeah, I mean, it's got the front page has a little information on the harbor for somebody who might be visiting, but that's
I think the
probably
wait list has been out there for a few years, but I think it was awkward to get
hard
to.
to find.
On a computer,
Yeah.
Nothing? Okay. Well, we can, I did put out there to possibly, discuss future agenda items. I think we kind of finished up the harbor fees. We kind of finished, I think our dinghy conversation we could always talk about that more, but I do think we're kind of in a lull. So I'm reaching out as the new chair and kind of new at this and not really knowing what I'm doing. That if anybody has anything they would like to discuss in the future, because being the chair, I'm not here to get my passion projects out there. I'm here to get everybody's passion projects. So I've got a couple from the folks who were absent, and what I'd really love is hopefully at the end of every meeting we can do this to try to get something as they come up, because as the harbor starts getting busier, there might be more issues. So I have a few from other members. If anybody has anything that they'd like to share, that they'd love to talk about in the next couple meetings, or if you don't want to say it out loud, you can absolutely email me. Ron, you got anything?
Yeah, I have a pet project, but we didn't make any recommendations regarding dinghies or dinghy at the end of all of our several meetings worth
I
of
think
conversation.
it was built into it was built into the fees, but you're right, I don't think we made any.
Well,
Actually,
I think we shied away from,
we did. I have it right here. We did. This went to Chriso and then to the select board. It was with the fees that we had discussed. And then he did have, you can have this if you want. He did have a little thing on what kind of we discussed. Dry storage versus
Who had?
this
the-
So that
Elliot,
was a memo from
from
Elliot.
Elliot to the
okay.
select board on what we found and
Yeah.
our, suggested.
Summarizing and essentially saying that at this time, there was not a recommendation for any changes to.
Well,
Yeah,
there was
that's what I-
there
the
was
current
like that
practice.
kayaks would
Right.
be on dry storage, there was a couple things, nothing major, and then there were the fees, so. You can read through that if you like, but that's what got sent for our recommendation of those
That's-
conversations.
So canoes and kayaks in dry storage
That was,
was really the only
Yeah. Not
only
ha-
thing that we recommended.
that was the only change that came out
Yeah,
of,
yeah. So that's,
everything else would stay the same.
yeah, and that's just a policy approach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not we didn't make any recommendations regarding the ordinance or we didn't suggest, for instance, a waiting list for a dinghy permit.
Not current.
No.
no, I think we ended up
I mean, we
kind of
had-
discussing all those things, but we never came to a formal agreement with everybody.
Right, we didn't reach a
Right,
consensus, so
right.
we didn't
So there
make any
was no,
recommendation.
yeah,
Right, exactly.
Well, the other, my other pet project, which everybody is aware of, is the channel. And that got addressed to some extent last year. And the approach was that we would be making incremental changes. That was Steve's approach to solving the problem in order to bring the channel into compliance with the ordinance. So I just would like to bring that back up again. I've been-
Where it's at now and.
Well, I've been quiet about it for a while now because, I was told that Elliot decided we weren't going to talk about it anymore. So, but it's still an issue. We are still not in compliance, unlike, it was, the town manager announced that it was, but that's because that's what she was told. I'm assuming she was informed that the channel was in compliance with the ordinance, when in fact it's not. So
Okay,
that conversation does need to go on. And it would be, I think, good to hear some solid reasoning behind changing the location of the channel away from how it's described in the ordinance. If there's a good reason for doing something like that, I think we should have that conversation. But we didn't hear any reasoning for changing the channel. We heard that the reason
the reason it got to
the
way
excuse,
it-
the excuse was that the mooring placement process got out of control and that the channel responded to mooring placement as opposed to being the other way around. The moorings never should have been placed in the channel in the first place.
Okay, I'm going to put that in my notes, Ron. We can probably have a follow-up on that. That sounds.
Well, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit so people would know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, that's a
and
good reminder to
and
check in.
know what the conversation's about so that when we do get to that point, we'll have some place
I think
to
it'd be
start.
good to check if any moorings were, I know there was talk about moving, not putting a mooring when somebody maybe gives up their mooring. So we'll have to check. I can check in of what might have changed there. And then just to be clear on the dinghies, going back more conversation on recommendations rather than the fees and the dry storage. Did you have something specific more
No, it
about
was
the
just a
dinghies?
question. It was just a question. I wasn't totally clear that we had come up with any suggestions or that we had made any.
Okay.
I didn't think we had, and I just
And you were
wanted,
right, yes.
just wanted to
Yeah.
clarify that.
Okay. All right. Anything else from you, Ron, that you can think of? You can always email me if you think of something more.
Or we'll bring it up at the next meeting.
Yeah. Chriso, anything that you can think of?
not currently.
Okay.
But-
Richard?
No,
No?
Not that I can think of right now.
Peter, you got anything over there? And I can give you my email if you ever want.
I will take that.
Okay.
To touch base on what Ron was just talking about, I'm not sure about this, but I have done research at other municipalities that have bought into our application that the moorings and the licenses and all of this data and digital application process, there is a chart of our great harbor with all of the moorings at GPS locations shown. I'm pretty sure. It may not be complete yet because it's a new process for us, but it might help the town. It might help this harbor committee to have win a discussion like Ron is bringing up. My goodness, if the members of the committee had the same graphic display of, oh my goodness, there's the channel, there's the moorings. So it's not just a plain old discussion, but I
We
believe,
have done that with,
so,
yeah, but
so I believe it might be available. It might, I don't want to get into public display of data, but I believe it's, so that would be an interesting question to bring up to the manager of the department. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, so that's kind of the same. Great. Does anybody have anything else? Meeting adjourned, 9:05.
Modern day record here.